In the span of just 4 years, an entire trilogy of Child's Play films were unleashed on the worldwide audience. Chucky, the star of the show, turned into an icon overnight. But by the time the third film released, critics weren't the only ones feeling a bit of fatality fatigue. Child's Play 3 was greenlit before 2 even hit theaters, but a fourth installment wasn't so quick to materialize. As a matter of fact, the IP would remain completely dormant for the better part of a decade. And then, one day, as legend has it, series producer David Kirschner found himself strolling down the aisles of the video store. His eyes met the cover of the 1935 classic, Bride of Frankenstein, and he thought, that'd be a cool thing to do with Chucky. And the rest, they say, is history. Today we go all the way on Bride of Chucky. This fourth installment in the Child's Play franchise would give our star killer a partner. It would take the story in an entirely new direction, and, well, let's just get the intros out of the way and then we'll dive right in. What do you think? Welcome to Scream Sequence, razor-sharp reviews of your favorite creepy classics. Every video here on 616 Entertainment is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoyed the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos and podcasts, and more. Pro Wrestling Tees has the merch. As always, thank you for watching. We open with a police officer heading to the evidence lockers. He walks past the gear of Jason Voorhees and Leatherface, the mask of Michael Myers, and the glove of Freddy Krueger. This is a hell of an opening, man. He grabs a sealed bag from an unsolved case locker and reports in with the person who put him up to such a crime. It's fair to question why this cop would risk his entire career just because someone told him to do this. But then we see who told him to do this, and it all makes sense. You kidding me? I will steal evidence right now. Tell me when. Anyway, she kills this cop and takes the bag. I would still steal the evidence for her if this was my fate. In fact, this might make it even better. This bag contained the shredded remains of Chucky. This mysterious, unbelievably sexy woman, whose name is Tiffany, by the way, stitches Chucky back together. She performs the Dambala voodoo spell with the assistance of her Voodoo for Dummies book. Man, we've come a long way from the original shaman, huh? And the spell doesn't work. Just kidding, yes it does. Chucky springs to life and kills this idiot who thought he was Tiffany's boyfriend, but he was just another jabroni she had doing her bidding. It turns out, Tiffany was actually a girlfriend of Charles Lee Ray. She was under the impression that he was about to propose the night he was killed. But when she tells Chucky this, he laughs in her face.
I still have the ring.
What ring?
You weren't gonna ask me to marry you?
What are you, fucking nuts?
Tiffany spent 10 years dreaming of the day that she and Charles would come face to face again. 10 years fantasizing about their wedding. And it was all a lie. So fuck Chucky. She locks him up and treats him like a baby. Here, you want to get married? Here's your bride, dickhead. Chucky breaks free, he kills Tiffany in cold blood, and he performs the Dambala spell, trapping her soul in the doll of the bride. Now, they've got something in common. They've got to get out of these bodies. Enter Jesse and Jade, who are also looking to run away for their own reasons. Tiffany sets a trap, offering Jesse money to drop off these dolls at the Hackensack Cemetery. Why there? Because that's where the casket of Charles Lee Ray lies, 6 feet underground. Why do Chucky and Tiffany care about that? Well, they can't get out of these dolls without the amulet of Dambala, which is buried around the neck of Charles Lee Ray. Let me interrupt here really quick. If you're wondering why Chucky never needed or mentioned this amulet before, It's because it didn't exist until right now. This is retconning at its absolute best. Or absolute worst. I don't know. Don Mancini was questioned about this once and fully admitted that the amulet was created just as a plot device in order to get this story on the road. He created the excuse in his head that Chucky's prior attempts to transfer his soul didn't work because he didn't have the amulet. Hey, it's that easy, I guess. So they're on their way. Everything goes off the rails, as you'd expect, and Jesse and Jade wind up becoming fully aware that these dolls are alive.
Nobody move! That works too.
People are killed in the most creative ways yet across the entire series, with Tiffany telling Chucky that stabbings are out of style. He needs to up his game. And the whole movie is like this, constantly referencing that Chucky's been around for 10 years now, and times have changed. I love when John Ritter's face gets impaled with dozens of nails, and Chucky says,
"Why does that look so familiar?"
yeah, I'd say that's pretty familiar. This turn into full-on comedy came from David Kirschner and Don Mancini, recognizing that their audiences loved when Chucky would be funny. The theaters would erupt, and the laughter would then allow the next kill to come from a fresher place. So, why not go with it? Why not lean into it? And here we are. Jesse asking Chucky how he wound up in this situation is so good.
Well, it's a long story. In fact, if it was a movie, it would take 3 or 4 sequels just to do it justice.
I don't think there's any better example of Chucky playing for comedy than him showing up on WCW Monday Nitro. No, this is not a joke. And Chucky would later pop up on WWE programming, which has to make him the only horror icon to ever appear for both companies. That's crazy. Anyway, we gotta wrap this story up, sorry. Chucky and Tiffany wind up having sex in a hotel room. Yes, there's a doll sex scene. And it seems like they're on the same page. Until Jesse and Jade outsmart the dolls, pitting their egos against each other.
Those dishes aren't gonna wash themselves, you know.
The least he could do is wash a dish.
Can't even wash one fucking dish! Plastic is no substitute for a nice hunk of wood.
I didn't hear her complaining last night.
It's not...
Move it! Jade! Get down there!
The amulet is recovered. It seems like the body swap will finally happen when Tiffany turns on Chucky with a line straight out of Bride of Frankenstein.
Why?
Don't you see? We belong dead.
We belong dead.
Chucky winds up killing her in return, right before he's done in by our leads.
Go ahead and shoot! I always come back! But dying is such a bitch.
They stroll off into the sunrise, and the detective who arrived on the scene is attacked by the baby that just emerged from Tiffany's womb. Oh, Jesus Christ. They had a baby. I mean, that's... I don't have anything to say. They had a baby. Bride of Chucky changes everything. It's much funnier, it's much more creative, it keeps us moving from location to location. Now, is Bride of Chucky a good movie? Yeah, I would say that it is. Absolutely. It's stupid, for sure, but being stupid doesn't make it bad. If you're just now realizing that Andy Barclay played no part in this story, you're a little slow on the draw, but no, he's not here. Andy's gone. Bride of Chucky was directed by Ronnie Yu, who we will talk about quite a bit next month in the history of Friday the 13th, Part 5. Because Ronnie Yu also directed Freddy vs. Jason. How do you like that? And this might just be me, but I cannot help but notice his taste in leads. He likes his men handsome with dark hair, and his women blonde with huge boobs. That is hilarious. I went out of my way in the Child's Play 3 review to point out how stationary Chucky is in that film, but that is not the case here. The 7 years between Child's Play 3 and Bride of Chucky left the effects team plenty of time to master new animation technology. And shout out to Debbie Lee Carrington, who doubled for Tiffany. Debbie sadly passed away in 2018 at the age of 58. It's also unfortunate to note that Alexis Arquette, who played Damien in this film, passed away in 2016. Raise a glass. If you feel like Damien looks like Marilyn Manson, that's because this character is based on him. And this role was written for him to play, though he turned it down. Even the reveal of Damien's actual name on the news is a joke at Manson's expense. I guess he didn't have a great sense of humor in 1998. You're lost, dude. You could have been killed by Chucky. Speaking of getting killed, Child's Play 3 was killed by critics. We talked about that last time. But Bride of Chucky? This one went over way better. The humor, the expansion of the lore, the addition of Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany. These new steps were appreciated. And not just by the critics either, but the fans. I told you, I'm not big on the third movie. It's fine, but I don't come back to it very often. Bride of Chucky, though, I watched this one with my friends over and over when we were kids. If you're looking for sheer entertainment on a scene-by-scene basis, you simply cannot go wrong here. Releasing on October 16th, 1998, Bride of Chucky pulled in a box office gross of over $50 million, making it the top-drawing film in the entire franchise. Both series creator Don Mancini and the voice of Chucky himself, Brad Dourif, considered this their favorite film in the entire lineup. I'm still partial to 1 and 2, but Bride is just below them. This one comes highly recommended.
I love you.
Oh, there it is, Dan Dans. That's it. I am washing my hands of Chucky for the time being. There is still so much more to see and do with Scream Sequence 2024. For my next review, we are leaving the planet. It's time for Moon. If you haven't seen this one, you've got a couple days before I spoil everything in my review, so watch the movie. It's really good. You won't regret it. Until next time, I love ya, and I'll see you soon. Listen to The Offering with Jerry Horror. I'm wearing this shirt for a reason. Great podcast.